Hey, 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 hey. Yeah, so we've got new scenes. Look at this. Brent, Shirley, the Schoolie, the amazing Chef Brent, our resident streaming expert at Twilio, created us these new scenes. Hello, you can see me. Look, I've got a cap because I'm one of those cool streamers who wears a cap and headphones. Awesome. Hope everyone's doing well. Tuesday morning, cold, but all good. Hopefully somebody will yell at me in chat that you can hear me and you can see me and everything is doing well, but otherwise we'll just get on anyway. You know how it is. I'm an expert at this streaming stuff. Okay. There you go. Hi. So, I really want to find out what's new in PHP 7.4, and I haven't done so yet. And let's be honest, I have done very little research about what was new in PHP 7.3 because I wasn't particularly working with new versions of PHP this time last year. But things are looking good, so I decided I want to find out what was new in PHP 7.4. So I guess the first thing that we need to do is to install PHP 7.4, which I haven't done. So let's take a look at what we got here. We are running PHP 7.3.11 with Xdebug, which is good. That's fine. So I think I should just be able to do a brew update and then a brew upgrade. Hopefully, fingers crossed. Fingers crossed we can just pull it down. Now, I'd like to have both versions installed so that I can run against multiple versions. I see PHP 7.1's gone, which is good. And I think I should be able to do that, right? Because it keeps it in user local library or something, and it should keep the old version in there as long unless I tell it to delete it. So that's good. So let's do brew upgrade PHP. Let's also turn off my audio on this laptop so you don't hear my incoming tweets coming in. So it is upgrading it to 7.4.0. This is exciting. I love a new version of PHP. I really, really do. This is all good stuff. All good stuff. So, yeah. I got a new phone as well, which is hot news. I got a new Pixel, Google Pixel 4. My other phone finally died a death. So, it's all good. It's all good. The battery was just like dying, so PHP 7.4. Now, we don't have Xdebug. I guess we'll leave Xdebug off for a while. That's all cool. So that was nice and easy for me, at least. Your mileage may vary, but at least I managed to upgrade that. Now, I'm hoping if we go to PHP Storm, let's configure PHP Storm next, because I want to tell PHP Storm that I am using a new interpreter. And that interpreter, see, it's removed 7.3. Okay, so we need to figure out how to have both. Because I thought it would keep it in this user local seller PHP. Let's see if we can find it. User, can I just type that in? User local bin PHP. There we go. So we've got our PHP 7.4. Let's name that PHP 7.4 at least. But I think it removed my 7.3, which is a shame. Because I definitely want to be able to easily run code against both versions to, like, prove there's a difference there. So PHP 7.4, blah, blah, blah. Looks good, looks good. Okay. But it looks like, and we want 7.4, which is type properties. I hope I'm running PHP Storm help about... Oh, this is 2019.2. Okay, let's close this. We need to have PHP Storm 2019.3, which I thought I have upgraded it, but we need to options remove from dock. This is the one thing I really dislike about PHP Storm is now I've lost all of my freaking configuration and stuff. And we have to update our plugins. But it's worth doing, right? For a new version of PHP Storm and a new version of PHP. It's totally worth doing. Hopefully this will pull all the settings in, my little keyboard shortcuts, but I've done it so many times now that it like takes me 2 minutes. I know what theme I want. I want, not lighter, light, one light, please. high contrast for the purpose of the stream and my live coding, and I don't care about the other settings. Thank you. There we go. We're getting there. I obviously need to make the font bigger because my eyes, I'm an old person. Oh, it looks like it's actually remembered my settings. This is good news. Font. This is me showing you behind the curtain. I apologise. No, it hasn't. So I have an 18, a 1.5, and I use Fira code medium. Cool. So let's configure. Let's see if we can find that PHP install again. And I'm obviously going to need to remember to configure my one keyboard shortcut that I use a ton. So we've got PHP 7.4. We don't have PHP 7.3. That's a shame. User local seller PHP. Let's see if... Oh, you can't see this, can you? Sorry. This thing at the bottom of my screen. This is not good. Okay. Can we just like... Doink. That works, right? Yeah, cool. Let's see what we've got. Okay, so it only kept 7.4. So can I use Brew to install a PHP version, but like... and leave the old one? That is a very specific Google, to be fair. That is like hugely specific. What if I just did Brew install PHP at this keyboard 7.1? I have tweets. Woohoo! Oh, you can't see that. That's good. Like this little bar at the bottom of the screen covers it. Oh, I don't want 7.1. What am I doing? And nobody in chat reminded me that I wanted 7.3. Okay, so hopefully because I'm just Brew installing, it'll keep 7.4 and we can have both. Here's hoping, huh? I hope everyone else has got a nice hot cup of tea. Come on, Brew. Do your stuff. Okay, so... because I haven't linked it. Right, that's good. I haven't linked it so that it's working now. Good. So, it's still... oh, it might have installed a newer version though, right? Ah, where did it install that? I should have read the output, right? User local etc. PHP 7.1. Okay. User local etc. PHP 7. Why do I keep saying 7.1 when it's plainly 7.3? Okay, that's the config for it. User local options opt PHP. Okay. User local opt PHP at 7.3. Hopefully this is where the bin directory is and we can just... yeah, that looks good. We can tell PHP Storm to look in here for that version. There you go. Okay, cool. Cool, so we can now run both versions of PHP, which is awesome. So I just do need to do a pud, and paste that into PHP Storm so it knows where 7.3 is. Excellent. So now we have two versions of PHP installed in PHP Storm, so we can run code against both versions, which is exactly what I wanted. Excellent. So, this is the release notes for PHP 7.4, and I want to try and go through as many of these as possible and try and figure out like what they are and what it actually means in code, because like some of these are quite obvious from just the names. Type properties, for example, I kind of know what that is already, but some of these are unpacking inside arrays, for example. I know those words, but I don't really know what they mean in that context. Numeric literal separator. Again, I'm like, whoa. So we're going to try and go through these things and figure stuff out. So let's start at the top, I guess. Some of these are not going to be like code stuff, but it's fine. So let's take a look at type properties. So class properties now support type declarations. This should be really easy to figure out because this is my most exciting thing for PHP. So if we do typed properties.php, and then oh, look, see, it hasn't remembered my settings at all. Ugh, let's get rid of those tabs. Like, who in their right mind wants tabs? There we go. And we declare strict types equals 1, because I always like to declare strict types. So class user, so this is kind of obvious, right? So if we do class typed properties, and then we can do, let's see, I've forgotten already. Yeah, so we can do a public property, which is a type int, which we'll call number. And then we can do a public string. This should work, right? Public string, and then some text. And then like public, I don't know, bool, flag. But we can also do like public. Oh, we need other classes, right? Okay, let's just pull some stuff in using Composer, because that's obviously the quickest way to do this. www, and then PHP 7.4. Yeah, Composer in it. Let's just pull some stuff in. Sorry, I don't care about this stuff. Oh, I've revealed my email again live on stream. This is awesome. Hey, Susanna K. I just spoke to you on Twitter, right? No problem at all. Welcome to the stream. It's good to see you. So I don't care about any of this. I just want to pull some stuff in. Monologue, I guess, is... Oh, not monologue. Monologue, yeah. Let's just pull that in, because I just want some other classes in this project that I can refer to. I don't really actually want to do any login. I just wanted to... And I don't care about my dev dependencies at this point. And away we go. Okay, so I just wanted some extra classes I can refer to in here. Now we need to do require once vendor autoload. I mean, we do want to be able to run this code, so we do need the autoloader. And this is typically how I format my codes. I know other people will do it differently, but like I do typically just like do declare strict types on the same line, and then require once, and then a space, and then away I go. So I kind of like to have my boilerplate just in those 2 lines. But anyway, we can now say like logger. So we expect this to be a logger. Okay. Why are these... Why is that gray and that? Unresolved element number. That's not an error though, right? Okay, so we should be able to run this. This should parse. In my mind, this should totally parse in PHP 7.4, but not in PHP 7.3. So if we run as PHP, unexpected int. Oh, that's not good. Have I got PHP 7.3? Oh, this is because I got PHP 7.3 run, okay? So this is proving the fact that this breaks on PHP 7.3. But we should be able to switch the language and framework PHP to PHP 7.4 right here. Done. And this should now run, yeah? Because we can't do this in 7.3, but we can do it in 7.4. So let's take a look. Okay, so it parses. So that's a good sign. So, I mean, that is awesome. That is awesome because, number one, it gets rid of, like, var int annotations everywhere. Like, you'd see these in code blocks all the time to tell people, like, oh, this is the kind of thing that it's supposed to be. Number two, I guess we're going to get full type safety. So let's figure that out. So if we do... in fact, let's not do a constructor. Let's just do like run. Then if we say dollar this number equals 100, that should work perfectly. Dollar. What are we looking at here? My keyboard shortcuts. Damn you. At least I'm pretty quick in doing this these days. I don't know if it's just me, right? Does anyone else lose all their configurations between upgrades of PHP Storm? Like, I'm pretty sure that shouldn't happen, and especially embarrassing as I used to work there, and I should know better. But I use Command-Shift-C to close all windows. So what I like to be able to do... Cancel. What have I done? Like, remove that one. No, I don't care. So what I like to be able to do is to be able to like just open my editor, particularly when I'm streaming. So you saw there I had like the run window open and I had the project browser open, and I like to just be able to go bang, there we go, I've just got my editor open, which is what I use Command Shift C for. So now we should be able to say typed properties equals new typed properties, and then we should be able to say type properties run. I mean, I guess we could have just, these are public properties, right? So we could have just assigned stuff to them. So this should parse, and it does. Let's do a var dump of the type properties so we can see that everything's been set. And run again. There we go. So we've got uninitialized, 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 and the numbers and int. But if we try and set this to like, so for example, what happens if we do like float? Is it a float? Float, right? So PHP Storm, I think, has picked this up. Property must be of type int, float provided. This is awesome. Like, we already get some free static analysis from right within our IDE, which is amazing. But if we run this, we should get like some kind of error. Uncaught type error. Type property number must be an int, float used. This is brilliant. This is going to be so useful. Goes hand in hand with like parameter type declarations. I mustn't call them type hints. I got a row on Twitter before. The type declarations. So, yeah, this is really cool. I really, really, really like this. I'm particularly excited for stuff like being able to have typed classes here, because now all of a sudden, like, you can say this logger, and then we've got our code completion in PHP Storm right off the bat, but we know at this point that there is a logger. Like, okay, this uninitialized, I guess we need to put some protection in there. But we know there's a logger, and we know that it can only be a logger. It's amazing. I love this. I absolutely love this. And just to confirm that this code won't run in PHP 7.3, let's just check that. I just want to prove to everyone, including myself, that this code, yeah, now we just get unexpected int, so it just won't even parse in PHP 7.3. Amazing. I love it. Any questions about the type properties? I think they're awesome. I'm going to do one more quick test, just to see what happens if I do this logger equals new, what have we got here? HTTP client, whatever, request. I don't care what this class is. This ticks all no. That's great. So PHP Storm should be telling us that this is an error. Yeah. So it's saying, what are you doing? You can't do that. But I'm interested to see what error we get from the parser. Of course, we have to go back to 7.4, which is no drama. No drama. Oh, okay. So it's because I've just picked the world's worst class to try and instantiate. Let's just do like a new handler. Let's just do a new, because I know monologue handlers will instantiate, like curl handler. Oh no, file system handler, right? Fingers crossed, I've used that before, that's great. Okay, can we just instantiate something? Default action level in string 1. I just want this to like, yeah, I just want to see, yeah, uncaught type error, type property logger must be an instance of monologue logger, and we've given it this random class that I just found in the project. Brilliant. Brilliant. Okay, cool. So let's make this work, because I will shove all this stuff on GitHub later, so that if you want to look back on this code, then you can see the code samples on GitHub, which is good. This logger equals new logger, right? That's all we need to do. And monologue logger has no dependencies, if I remember correctly. Oh, it has a name. Okay, so this should now parse correctly. Yeah, excellent. Logger is, I mean, this is going to make code so much easier to work with. Particularly, like, because I've done so many projects where I've come back and I've come in late as a consultant to try and like fix things, add tests, make things easier to use, blah, blah, blah. Then, you know, this kind of stuff written in projects now in 5-10 years time is going to make life so much easier. Like so much easier. That is super cool. Okay, so there's our type properties. I'm very happy. In case you hadn't figured it out, I like type properties. I'm very happy with that. My audio has gone a little bit echoey. Oh, okay. Everything looks really good my end. Let me see if I can hear anything here. Oh, that's scary. I mean, I did see that the bitrate dropped there quite considerably, so it could be an encoding problem. I hope it's fixed now. It is a big deal. I don't like having bad audio. The bitrate did drop. Is it still echoey, or is it a little bit better now that the bitrate's gone back up? It's still echoey. Okay, that's scary. That's scary. 1 second. I'm just trying to see what I can do here. How on earth? Like, we have no other inputs. I don't know what I can do about that in the short term. Let's see how it goes. If it sorts itself out in a couple of minutes, and if it doesn't, then I'll probably take a little 2 minutes to try and fix that. I do apologize. I haven't really changed anything. So this is all a bit weird. I guess I could move my mic a little. I don't know if that helps. We shall see. We'll come back to it. Yeah, no, I really do appreciate it, Susanna. Honestly, I really do. I don't know why these things just happen in the middle of a stream. It's really weird. And I don't really know what I can do about it, but because I can't really hear the audio myself without, like, hearing the audio myself. In fact, I could probably do that. Hang on. Oh, wow, it is super echoey. Yeah, that's not good. You probably heard it like 3 times then. That's muted. That can be muted. I'm just going to mute everything that I don't need and see if that helps. Maybe that's helped? No. Oh! So annoying. Nah. No, don't be sorry. I need to get this stuff fixed. We were flying along then, and then all of a sudden my audio sounds like I'm a Dalek or something. That's not good. Okay, that's muted. That's muted. Mute. That should be good, right? There's no audio coming through here. No. Okay, you're going to lose me a sec. I'm going to try something. Oh, is it better? Okay, hang on. No. I can actually hear myself on the stream on this other... This is on the streaming PC. This is not my laptop. But it shouldn't make any difference. That's muted. Oh, that's not good. That is not good. Bye. I just removed my camera by accident somehow. Okay, I can add that back in now. Yeah, debugging problems with the stream, live on stream. I do apologize to everyone. But this is very annoying. I can easily add my camera back in now. I'm just trying to fix this. I wonder if that's actually fixed it though. Nope, that's not fixed it. It's good now. Really? Oh, okay. Oh, so I did fix it by randomly clicking. Okay, so if I add, I can easily just get rid of my video. Like, I'm going to try adding it back quickly. But I hope, like, if my cam is causing the problem, then we can easily fix that. I'm all the way up here. Hello. Editing stream. Editing live on stream. I don't know if that's added it back in or not. No, it looks good to me. Woohoo! Right, sorry about that. So, arrow functions. So this is stuff that I kind of like. Again, it gives us shorthand syntax for defining functions. I think like JavaScript has had this for a while. Sorry about the interruption there, everybody. So JavaScript's had this for a while, right? Whereby, let's create a new file, arrow functions.php. Declare strict types, please. And then let's add our autoloader just in case we need it. I really should just create this as my default new PHP file template, shouldn't I? But it's fine. So we've been able to use anonymous functions quite a lot, right, in PHP in the past. So I saw this in a Slim project I was using the other day. So let's open this. This is a Slim project that I was using to write a new blog post on adding Twig to Slim. This is probably a plugin. There we go. Boink. So in the there's a very, very good. The reason I wanted to open this is because there's a very good example in this dependency file where we're passing in functions here. And we can use the short syntax now, I believe. So in this instance, if we run this against PHP 7.4, this should pass because we're using the function. And I think this is what it replaces. And I'm totally up for people giving me more information here. Arrow functions brand a shorthand syntax for defining functions with implicit by-value scope binding. So in this instance, fun $n is equal to $n times factor and then the array of 1, 2, 3, 4, which is the array map. So array map takes a function as its first argument and an array as its second argument, right? Let's just confirm that straight off the bat. I'm almost certain it does, but as with every PHP developer, I constantly have to Google these things. So array map, yeah, it takes a callback and then it takes an array. Right, so in this instance, the callback is a function where we're saying n is going to be the item of the array and we're going to multiply it by the factor. Okay, so I now know exactly what this is similar to. Let's do this. I understand. Why can't I open the other project? Okay, so this is the equivalent of array map function $n use factor comma 1 2 3 4. What have I done wrong here? Oh, use factor. There you go. So I believe return $n times factor. So I believe these two functions should operate. These two pieces of code should operate the same. Yeah. So let's confirm that. var dump $nums and then var dump $nums. Let's get rid of this. For a start, I just want to check this runs and parses in PHP 7.3. So I believe this is how it works, and I think that the words unexpected. Oh, I'm running the wrong file. That's why I'm running the old file. PHP script, please. Okay, so yeah, that wasn't good. So what we get here is 0 is 10. 1 is 20, 2 is 30, 3 is 40, right? Which is what we expect from the documentations. Yeah, 10, 20, 30, 40. So we know that I've written this to be the equivalent code. And then if we undo this and run it again, we're going to get an error because it has no idea what this double arrow is here, which is great. So I do believe this is equivalent code. And if we run this on 7.4, then we've got two arrays the same. So what do we get here? Well, the pertinent thing here is that we've got a shorter syntax. So we're using fun $n arrow, so we've got a much shorter syntax, but also variables in scope are implicitly by value in scope again. So we don't actually have to say use. Anything that's currently in scope when we're using this arrow function is effectively already in scope. So we don't have to do this crazy like use, because we could have like a multiple list here if we needed it, but everything is actually in scope. And to be fair, when you're writing like anonymous style functions like this, you typically do need to bring stuff into scope, because you could be using this as like a root, or as we were doing in the other project, as a dependency. I don't know why I can't command tick to move to the other project. Like next project window, command alt tick. Is that a changed map? It is. So we could essentially rewrite this, because there's a perfect example is here, right? So if we run dependencies.php, this may pass. I mean, this is a perfect example, essentially, of how we could test this. So if we go to that file, Twilio Slim, and then if we php-s, let's just run it on like 4242, which is my preferred port, and then -t public, I believe. Yes, I want it to run. So this is using PHP 7.4 server. We should be able to visit this page. Hello world. So this is just the website I was writing to show an example of adding Twig to a Slim application. But this is being run, so we should now be able to write this to use these arrow map functions, right? So, no, not array map, arrow functions. Here we go. So we should be able to do this, and we should be able to do this by saying, instead of, right, class, so this is a key value pair, so this is a function where we pass in the container interface C. Can we can't do return maps, maybe we can, maybe we can't. Oh, okay, I need to switch to 7.4. Yeah, we can do returns. So I'm not using the use statement now. Notice, right? I've actually used the wrong one here, right? Because there was no use statement. This is the one we want to do, right? So we're passing in the container interface C, and we're using settings, and we're returning an environment. This is just like a simple factory for, and we don't need to return. How do we return? That's a very good question. N times factor. Because they're passed by value. Okay, so this isn't actually usable for this perspective, because they're passed by value. So if whatever we modify n to is what is returned, right? So we pass in n, and then we multiply it by factor, and whatever n is what gets returned. I think that's how it works, right? Let me reread this. Arrow functions provide a shorthand syntax for defining functions with implicit by value scope bindings. Yes. Okay, so I don't think we can do this here, because essentially what we're actually doing here is not what I did. In fact, let's go to the other one. What we're actually doing is this, I believe. So we're passing in by value, and when we modify the value, it goes back to being $n. So essentially, this is more of a like-for-like comparison for me. Expression result not used anymore, but it is, because I'm passing it in with scope binding here. So I think this is the like-for-like comparison. Yeah, maybe not. Function. Arrow functions provide a shorthand syntax, right, for defining functions with implicit by value scope binding. Yeah, okay. This n is not in scope here. Maybe it would work if I did it differently, but that's fine. That's fine. Okay, so it's gonna have limited usage. That's the number one. You can't. It's not perfect for replacing every single possible anonymous function. It's not going to work, but it's perfect for when you want to pass in anonymous functions to PHP's core functions that take a callable, or other functions or methods that take a callable. I think it's pretty cool. I can see me using this. Like, this is much easier to maintain than this, arguably. Arguably it's not, though. Like, I'd be interested to see which chat finds more readable. This, or the one, or way 2. I'd be interested to see which one people found more interesting. And if you're watching this on VOD, hit me up on Twitter. It is cool. It is cool. I have to say that. It is cool. But I'm a little bit meh about how useful that is. Like, compared to type properties, we probably should have left type properties till last, because everything is going to be blown away by type properties, right? Limited return type covariance and argument type covariance. Limited return type covariance and argument type covariance. So this is to do with cyclical references, I would believe. I just saw something on Twitter about this. This is also to do with, like, returning self. This will fail. I'll tell you now, I know this will fail in PHP 7.3, even though this looks like it should work in PHP 7.3. What was this called again? Return type covariance. I know this will fail in PHP. Oh, I wish I'd have already set up the auto loading. So this code will not pass in PHP. This is just telling me I've got empty methods, right? Yeah, that's fine. This code looks like it should pass in PHP 7.3, but it won't, because of this. Because of the child producer that extends producer overloading the method and returning something different. So let's prove that, right? Let's prove that straight off the bat. Oh, I'm running arrow functions again. Oh, I mean, it is a Tuesday. I should be fine. Yeah. Declaration of child producer method B must be compatible with producer method A. But you want to do this a lot. Like, it's totally valid for you to want to extend this class, overload the method, and return a different class. Especially given that this class is a child class of the original class. So there's totally, like, this does seem like it would be a maintenance hell, this kind of example to me. Like, I don't think that extending, we do tend to extend too much in my mind, which is a completely controversial opinion, and it is just an opinion. But yeah, you can't, essentially this needs to match that, right? This has to, if I'm extending producer and I'm overloading this method, it needs to match the signature return type. So this should pass, which it does. But in PHP 7.4, we can now not have matching signatures. And I believe that isn't to do with the fact that class B extends A either. I think we can put anything we want here. I'm not sure of that, though. No, you can't, apparently. So it needs to be compatible. So they still need to be, this return type needs to be a subset of this return type, which is fine. It just means it becomes more useful when you do something like this. Because this will fail in PHP 7.3, although this would be a common scenario. If you're writing fluid interface, for example, you'll be wanting to return self constantly. But then if I extend the fluid interface and overload something, I could no longer return self. So if we run this on 7.3, this will fail. I think this is where this becomes, like, super useful. So yeah, this will fail now, because this is saying, oh, I should return a method of producer, whereas this is returning a method of child producer, even though child producer is a subset of producer, so it should be fine. But in 7.4, We can now write fluid interfaces that extend, that are extending already written fluid interfaces. I hope that makes sense. This tea is amazing. That's really cool. Particularly useful, I would imagine, for library authors. I think I saw Freak, who was on the stream talking about Ignition, talking about this on Twitter, saying how this is going to make their library writing much easier. And I can imagine it would, to be fair. I could imagine it would. Okay, so these three I already had some little bit of knowledge about. Unpacking inside arrays, I have no idea what that means. No idea. I know what unpacking is, but I'm gonna remind myself. I think array unpacking is like taking an array of arguments and turning them into argument unpacking. Constant, okay, argument unpacking. So yeah, ... is argument unpacking, right? Arrays and traversal objects can be unpacked into argument lists when calling functions by using the ... operator. I'll be honest, I haven't used this much. It's also known as the splat operator. Yeah, I've heard of that. I have not used this much in Anger in production, so this is interesting things for me. So function add takes a and a b and a c, and then we return a, b, and c. So what we're doing is we're passing an array of operators in rather than passing individual arguments. So I'm going to replicate this quickly because I'm guilty of being ignorant about using argument unpacking in Anger, and I'd like to learn a little tiny bit more before we see what's changed. So array unpacking. Right, we're doing it. I can't do this any longer. We're doing it. We're doing it. Templates. Templates. No, not debug. How do I do this? I've done this so many times. Like, you stop coding in Anger, and then you language defaults. There we go. No, not color scheme. Live templates. No. File and code templates. That's what I wanted. PHP file. PHP parse PHP file header. Okay. I mean, I just want this, right? That's all I want. Dunk, dunk. Now, hopefully, if I remove array unpacking and then create it again, new PHP file, array unpacking. I hate not being... There you go. Beautiful. I hate not having my my ID set up properly. It's so annoying. I see a lot of people here, but you're all very quiet in chat. Nobody has any questions or comments or just wants to shout out and say hi. I mean, that's totally fine. I understand. I'm probably on in the background while you're pretending to work, right? I get it. But it would be nice if you said hi. I'll say hi back. So let's create a new function, and then they used add. Let's just do that, right? And say we take A, B, C, D, E, and F, where E defaults to 0 and F defaults to 0. Yeah. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 required arguments and 2 optional arguments, and then we return A plus B plus C plus D plus E plus F. Hello! Thank you for saying hello, Paladin Zocht. Nice to have you here. I mean, I'm totally happy, and I understand that people don't always have to interact. It's just I feel a little lonely when I'm just like talking into the void, which is fine. I guess I should be used to it. So I mean, my immediate, because this is the way I roll. Like, I cannot see this without typecasting, without adding type declarations, so that we know we're always getting what we want, and we're gonna let's get rid of that, and we're gonna return what we expect. Like, that's my immediate thing. Like, I know we're doing something totally different here, but that's fine. So, assert, add, I'm just writing a test here, right? Add 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 equals 6, right? Is that right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can't even do basic maths. 6 times 1 should equal 6. Does anyone use this assert? This is what I do when I want to do like bargain basement tests, unit tests, or automated tests, and I can't be bothered to install PHP unit. So I just use assert. So if this fails, so for example, if we put a 2 in here, this should fail. And it tells me that 6 times 1 should equal 6 failed. So this is like bargain basement testing, which I love. So that's just proof that our function works. So next, let's do the same thing. But let's do it using we should be able to like pass in an array of arguments here, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Add equals 6. Now, I think we need to use the splat here, right? So this should be the same as this. This is really interesting for me, actually. 6 times 1 splat should equal 6 too. This is really interesting to me because I've never actually done this in anger, and now I'm thinking, why haven't I? Like, I feel like I should. Okay, so they equate. That's useful. That's really useful for me as a quick refresher of how splat works. So now let's see what actual unpacking inside arrays is. So we've got apple and pear, and then we've got banana, orange, splat parts, watermelon. Oh, so now we can like merge arrays inside other arrays. Hey, I know your least tables, but yeah, I think you're right, Paladin Zog. Yeah, I think it could replace some array merge. Hi, LS tables. I think it's exactly that. I love it. This is the kind of thing I can see quickly becoming super useful. So yeah, refresher, course on argument unpacking and what it is, because I totally forgot. I'll be honest, like while I've done a ton of PHP in anger, like I really constantly need to refresh my memory about what's what, because some people will use stuff like argument unpacking all the time because of the way they work in their job or what they're doing. Other people like me totally won't have a chance to do it. Like the last time I was actually working in anger was probably 6 months ago, and I was working on a PHP 5.5 application using an old version of Laravel. So, you know, you do need to refresh yourself and stuff. That's why I love doing this kind of checking what's new, particularly on stream. And thank you so much for the follow, Corey Rose. Really, really appreciate the follow. So now let's take a look at this argument unpacking. I'm really intrigued. So, I see your question, Paladin. We'll totally take a look at that in a second. And I'm also going to try and break it by doing other things. But in fact, let's just copy this code for now. And just get the, quantify that the code works in 7.4 and doesn't work in 7.3. No. Okay, so if we run this. Banana, orange, apple, pear, watermelon. That's really cool. What happens if this is a string? This is going to error, right? Totally going to error. Yeah, only arrays and traversables can be unpacked. Oh, traversables. Like, that is really, really interesting. Hi, Runel. And thank you for loving the Tweedo attire. Are you talking about the attire of my new frame around my stream? Or are you talking about my beautiful Tweedo red track jacket that I'm wearing instead of putting the heating on? Because either is good. So that's really cool. So the next question, excuse me 1 second. I still have a sore throat. Yeah, this is my Twilio track jacket that you get Everyone at Twilio gets one when they write their first app that uses Twilio, which is cool. So the question we have is, does this work with an array that has key values? That is a really good question. And that is something we can totally fix. Okay, so apple pair, let's say working example. Whoa! What did I do there? Example from. I'm totally going to like upload this to YouTube, which is why I'm trying up to YouTube. I am going to upload it to YouTube, but I'm also going to upload it to GitHub, which is far more useful than YouTube for this stuff. So that's why I'm just keeping these examples here, right? So we've got them. So let's think, what are we going to have? Name, Gary, slogan, don't. Oh, I could, like, I'm always lazy when I do this, and I never bother to escape stuff. Don't forget to hit follow, like Corey Rose 1 just did. Age, this is my real age, not actually like my 42, which is the number I use for everything. We totally need some more Laravel PHP streamers. I can 100% hit you up with more Laravel PHP streamers. If you don't already follow Matt Stauffer, follow me on Twitter and I'll tweet it at you. Matt Stauffer's an amazing Laravel PHP streamer. We come from different. What I like about Matt, what I love watching Matt, is we come from a different perspective on what makes good code. Both perspectives being like completely and utterly valid. Honestly, like, my perspective is I love strict types. I want everything to be type hinted. I don't like using PHP's magic. I don't like using Laravel's magic. I like to be as explicit as I can. Matt comes from the other perspective where he likes things to be clean and his APIs to be readable, even if they're doing tons of magic under the hood. Totally valid, different perspectives, and I really believe you should make your own mind up and watch, learn about both perspectives and understand both perspectives. But I love watching Matt stream. Matt's amazing. You definitely should follow, hit up Matt Stauffer. You really should. He's a great Laravel PHP streamer and big man in the Laravel community, author of Laravel in Action. So, very, very knowledgeable. Like, he's my first port of call when I have Laravel questions, to be honest. So definitely follow Matt. Like, if you need Laravel help, if you want Laravel streamers, amazing. Anyway, I got sidetracked as is usual. Thank you so much for the follow, Paladin Zoct. Very kind. Yep, that's very, very kind of you. And hit me up on Twitter, Corey Rose, right? Definitely. If you want any help or advice before Friday, definitely hit me up on Twitter. I can give you some advice and some help. I only really use Twitter as my email. There you go. That's me on Twitter. Anyway, what were we doing? I got so distracted again. Paladin Zoct asked about... So we've got a key value pair array, right? So this should just be a normal key value pair array. Let's get rid of these var dumps. Oh, the asserts are fine. You have a new follower on Twitter. I thank you very much. It's the best way to just get in touch with me. That's the only reason I say that. Because my DMs are open. You don't have to follow me. You can totally just hit me up on Twitter DMs anytime you want. I'm more than happy to help, to answer questions. I love it. Okay, so that works. So now what if we say extended user, because I'm terrible at naming stuff, equals name, slogan, age, Twitter, because since we're talking about it, and I always self-promoting, and then user, right? This is what we're wondering. Place your bets. Who in chat thinks this code is going to run? And who in chat doesn't think that this code is going to run? I'd like to know. Like, I totally should set up a poll, but, I'm not that pro. I'm not that pro. Guessing will not run. Yeah, I suspect you're right. It may run, but it may error. There's three options. It'll error. It'll run and give us the results we expect, which is that we get an array with name, slogan, age, and Twitter. Or it'll run and give us a completely random result that we don't expect. So let's take a look. Cannot unpack an array with string keys. So whoever said it won't run, I thought it might run. I suspected it might run. But yeah, you as usual, chat, you're smarter than me. You're always smarter than me. Always. But I still think that this is like it's a cool addition to the language. I can see myself using this in loads of places. So yeah, the cool thing about this and array in front of array merge is you can say exactly where the arrays are going to be merged, right? Because I guess you could do this. Failed experiment to see if it worked with array keys. So the interesting thing about this is you could do this with array merge, but you'd have to do like multiple array merges. In fact, I don't even know how I would do this with array merge. Like, I guess you could do it like, I'm wearing, this is, I think this is San Francisco 49ers, right? When I went to our head office in San Francisco when I first took the job with Twilio, I like to like buy some kind of keepsake from when I go on my trips with work. So this is my 49ers hat that I bought when I went to our head office. This is cool. Tut tut. Well, what's wrong with that? It's like I don't support them or anything. It's just a cool hat. So we could do this, right? We could do... How would you even do this programmatically? You'd have to do like fruits equals array merge banana orange parts watermelon. Can you do multiple? I mean, would that be the same? Array merge apple banana pear orange watermelon. Have I done this wrong? Have I done the code wrong? Sorry. Apple, pear, banana, orange, watermelon. Apple, pear, banana, yeah. So, I think this would work, right? I think this would work. Fruits? Let's find out. Oh, yeah. I kind of need to... I kind of need to remove my failed experiment here, right? Otherwise, the whole thing is going to... Banana, orange, apple, pear, watermelon, yeah. So, I mean, it's not a huge, like, massive bonus. We can get rid of an array merge. Personally, I prefer this in my code than having functions. Like, anywhere I can replace functions with operators is pretty good for me. So, I like this. This one gets a thumbs up from me. And I think it gets a thumbs up from chat. So, that's all good. I don't know why I keep going back when the next one's plainly like just under the one that I was on, because like I was there and I went back and then clicked on it to come here, but it's all good. Phyllis, hey, nice to see ya. How you doing? Okay, now this is like just weird to me. Numeric literal separator. Numeric literals can contain underscores between digits. So my first question is, what the hell is a numeric literal? This shows my massive non-computer science background. A numeric literal is a character string whose characters are selected from the digits 0 through 9, a signed character, and the decimal point. Okay, so it's just like a normal number. It's just like what I would say is a normal floating point number. If the literal contains no decimal points and integer. Oh, so a numeric literal is just like, it's like a word you can use to refer to floats and integers. Is that fair? Okay, so I think that's what that means. I mean, I don't know, but I think you can read the size of a number. Okay, so I'm loving this, Paladins. Thank you very much. So a million gets one, and excuse me, one underscore 000 underscore 000. But why? You can read the size of a number. Oh, have I got an echo again? How the? What? This is the like I did nothing, right? You saw me, I didn't touch anything, and all of a sudden it started echoing. Damn it. Okay. Okay. How's that? Has that fixed it? I don't know what I did last time. No. Now I can hear myself, which is not good. That's muted. That's muted. That's muted. That's muted. What if I go to my secrets? What the hell? This is so frustrating because we were doing so well then, and then... Right, I'll be right back. 2. Can you hear me now? I think that worked fine. And do you know what? I literally... I deleted the Yeti stereo mic from the scene. I think what the problem here is that I'm using... so I guess we'll carry on with this. Yeah, technology sense. Hey, Brunty. I'm using like scenes that my colleague created and put on Stream Elements. They're web streams. Like, I've literally deleted the Yeti stereo mic from this scene, yet it's still actually... You can still hear me, apparently, and this is, like, really scary, because I no longer have a sound indicator on the actual screen, so I can't see something moving to tell me that you can hear me, so I hope you can still hear me. But anyway, so numeric literals can contain underscores between digits. I mean, okay... I don't know why you want to do this. I think Paladin Zoct had some kind of idea for me, which is nice. But let's try this out. Numeric literal underscore. Oh, and now that work that I did to give myself a template has come straight back and made me amazing. So, like, for example, we can say $1 million equals 1. So why? I don't know why I'd want to do that. This could be one of those, though, where people who need this stuff, and I'm not one of those people. So, you know, that could totally be it. Can somebody just nudge me in chat to make sure that you can still hear me, by the way, just because I have no conviction that you can. Oh, I guess I can. Yeah, you can hear me. I can just unmute my stream. You can read quicker the size of a number. In what way, though? You can read quicker the size of a number. Oh, so are you saying, like, it's the equivalent of putting commas in there, right? Is that what it is? Okay. It's like a programmer. Now I understand. So when you say read quicker, yeah. When you say read quicker, you mean like the human eye can read quicker rather than, like, I was thinking the computer, you could read it from a computer program, but you're talking about like the developers grokking what a number is. I'm good with that. That's great. That's great. Because, like, yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm totally sold on that. That's fine. If it means that if this is designed to make comprehending stuff for users, for developers who are reading the code easier, I'm totally sold. Like, why wouldn't you be? Why wouldn't you be? Yeah. Why not? Why not? You know, that's my attitude. You're right. It just makes it so much easier. Yeah. Of course I can do a... Let's see how it comes out. I agree. Why not? Run PHP. So yeah, it just strips them from the... It just strips them and changes them into ints or floats or whatever. Yeah. It's all good. It's all good. I like it. I like it. That's a thumbs up from me. I think that's... as I say, anything that we can do to make comprehending code quicker and easier, I'm definitely going to start using this. Like 100% going to start using that in PHP 4 projects. I think you're right. Like, I can immediately see that's 1 million. I can immediately see that's 0 point something very small. It's great. Definite thumbs up from me. Weak references. This one I don't know anything about. Weak references allow the programmer to retain a reference to an object that does not prevent the object from being destroyed. Okay, those words mean nothing to me, and we may need to look that up. Let me just run this in PHP 7.3 to confirm that it breaks, because we've done that for everything. So let's stick with that. And then I'm going to have to... Yep, okay, that breaks, because you can't have a underscore in a integer in 7.3. Perfect. Okay, now I'm going to take a sip of my tea and attempt to read these words again. This is my, like, worst nightmare, trying to understand these computer science words. And inevitably, when I figure this out, it's going to be relatively trivial and stuff, and I'll understand it, but... Weak references allow the programmer to retain a reference to an object that does not prevent the object from being destroyed. So, my guess is this is to do with garbage collection. And this is to do with referencing something that would not previously have been able to have been destroyed by garbage collection, but now can. So my guess is this is a performance or memory management type thing, but it is just a guess. So now, for the first time today, we need to find someone else who's written a blog post about this, and figure out... I mean, Stitcher are normally pretty good, right? We've done all this stuff. We've done it. What was it called? Weak... I can't even remember what it was called already. Weak references. Weak ref... Yeah, we just read that. That's exactly the same as that. Come on, Stitcher. That's literally like a copy and paste from the manual. Well, it's not a copy and paste, but let's take a look at the RFC. Thank you for the link to the RFC, Stitcher. I'm sorry. Weak references allow the programmer to retain a reference to an object which is not present, blah, blah, blah. They're useful for implementing cache-like structures. They're currently supported in PHP by extension. The current implementation of weak ref all work by overloading an object. Okay, I don't care about how it works internally. Sorry. Final class. It'll prevent things like DA containers from preventing things from being destroyed. Yeah, okay. But when you say being destroyed, Kat, do you mean by garbage collection, or do you mean implicitly using unset or whatever, or do you mean like both? Excuse me, I absolutely have to blow my nose, and I know it's disgusting, and I'm sorry, but I'll be right back. I mean, now we may or may not have sound. We may have an echo. We may not have an echo, but whatever. Both. Okay. It'll prevent things like DA containers from preventing things from being destroyed. Okay. I'm not particularly sure we can write code to do this, because I think this is something that's like under the hood that may bite you if you were like relying on abusing this previously, but I don't think we can write code to demo this. The proposed API differs from the documented weak ref class. The current documented API includes the following methods emitted from the proposed API. Valid, acquire, release. So, even if you want set, if it has ref. Yeah, I know that I understand, like, there's the internals. I know, but I think I kind of get it in my mind, but I don't really get it, but I kind of get it. I kind of understand that if you were referencing an object, it can't be cleaned up properly. And now it can, but that's really not something I can demo, right? It's just something that happens in the internals, that just one of those little steps. I shouldn't say little, it could be a huge step. But one of those things that just helps with memory management and performance, because effectively the garbage collection has become improved. I think this is what it is. I don't think I can demo this. But it's interesting, you know, it is interesting stuff. Don't get me wrong. Like, I always enjoy that. Allow exceptions from toString. This is something that Marco has been cheering on for ages, throwing exceptions from toString. It just means that it's not userland. I agree, Kat. I agree. I just feel like this is just another one of those things that is incredibly, incredibly useful. So, because before, right, if you threw an exception in a toString, it was non-recoverable. Let's demo that. So, toString exception. Let's demo it. So, class stringable. Hopefully that's not a reserved word. Is there a PHP? What's the word I'm looking for? Is there a stringable interface like in the SPL? I don't think there is, right? It's not like iterable or whatever. I don't think there's anything that says it can implement toString. It's fine. It's me getting distracted again. So if we have a class that's stringable and then we do the pubf toString, which returns a string because it returns a string, I would have called it exceptional underscore toString. Yeah, of course you would, Kat, because, you know, your pun game is stronger than mine. It's totally fine. So we've got a public function toString that returns a string. We return give me a follow now. Like, I'm going to keep doing this. This is now becoming a meme. It's totally fine. And then we do var dump. Oh, dollar stringable equals new stringable. And then we var dump string dollar stringable, right? So this should be the code that just works. Why are you typo? No, we're totally having stringable as a valid word. End of. So if we run this, right, this should just be no drama, just an example of what toString is. So that's all the toString is, if you didn't know, is it allows you to run code when you cast to a string. You've already followed me, cats. Fine, I get it. You're even still the latest subscriber down here, look. It's all good. So yeah, this is the how toString works, right? When you cast something to a string, this code gets run. It's brilliant it's amazing for writing clean code where maybe we've got some properties. So for example, we may have, in this instance, we may have some properties that we want to like add. So we may have protected string, like I'm going to use type properties. Handle equals spabby, and then protected string URL equals twitch.tv/spabby. Credit card? What? I'm not giving you my credit card. I actually lost my wallet this week, which is terrible. I've never felt so helpless in all my life. I mean, Monzo are brilliant, so where you only output the last 4 digits. Yeah, that's a very, very good example, Felix. Yeah, it's a very good example. Is if you did a 2-string on a credit card, you'd want to obfuscate on a credit card number. You want to obfuscate it, so you just do star, 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 then the last 4 digits. But yours like this handle, and then at. But this is just an example, right, of how it works. This URL, right? So we're dynamically using 2-string to pull some stuff out of the properties, and if we run that, there we go, perfect. So this is how it works. But previously, it may have been that you'd want to throw an exception. So, for example, if handle equals doesn't equal spabby, throw new, like invalid argument exception is the go-to exception for me. This is kind of a joke. Only spabby can be followed on Twitter, on Twitch. So now we're saying, oh, if we change the handle to anything from that, then it's going to throw an exception. Now this should just work in 7.4, and it does. We've got the uncaught exception. So we're going, whoa, now I can't. There's the state of this. It's not an argument. I'll give you an argument now. What do you want? The 30 minutes or the full hour? The state of this is that it's definitely valid to be able to throw an exception inside of 2-string. Like 2-string, the state of the application could be such, or the state of the object could be such that it can't be cast to a string. But that should be a recoverable error. It should be an error where you throw a cannot cast to string error or whatever, invalid type error or whatever, and you can catch that and you can handle it gracefully. But if we run this in 7.3, I'm pretty sure this gives us a fatal, right? Yeah. So we get a parse error. Like you can't. Oh, that's because we're getting a parse error because I'm doing this. So yeah, let's make that actually parse first. Method stringable 2-string must not throw an exception. Oh, it did. It's a fatal though, right? So it's not an uncaught exception. It's a fatal error, which is obviously not good because there's no recovering from a fatal error, right? So this just allows us to write more maintainable, more extensible code from the off, and I love it. And I love it. This is great. Any questions? I'm very happy with this situation. For me, this is a bug fix, by the way, not a this isn't a feature. This is a bug fix. And now I think we get into the weeds a little, because this stuff is. I don't really understand this stuff. I know what opcache is and I know what it does, right? What are we looking at here? Opcache configuration. Okay, let's take a look. So here comes my brief, ignorant what is opcache. Opcache allows code. So what happens is that before PHP can be run, it's taken from what we've physically written in our file and it's turned into opcache, which is a more optimized version. So it's a more optimized version of the code. It's turned into opcache. Opcode is the parsed PHP essentially, and that can be cached so that when we're running a web server, we don't need to do that step of turning the text that we've written into our editor into opcode. It can just be cached in memory, which means we're not loading the file from the disk in every request, and we're not parsing that code into opcode on every request. We're just pulling the stuff from memory. And what opcache preload means is that we don't want to even wait for the first request to come in to hit that file, to load it into the opcache, to convert it into opcode and load it in the opcache. We want to just preload it every single time because this is code that is definitely run, like our user login code or our homepage rendering code or this is the best deals we've got on today code. We just want to just like preload those files into opcache constantly because we know they're going to be hit, and we don't even want that slight overhead the first time it's hit. So I know what it is, I just don't know how it works. I'm just going to answer Kat's question. What happens if you... What do you get if you return a non-string from toString in 7.4 you want? So we'll take that out and we'll set that to Spabby so we don't throw the exception, and we'll return an int. So we're not getting an error from PHP Storm, so I suspect it'll just cast it to a string. We are getting an error from PHP Storm. ToString method must return a string. Unexpected oh, I'm running this from 7.3. Apologies. Yeah, stringable toString must return a string value. So it gives us a fatal. I don't know if that's different from 7.3. We can check that quickly. We can totally check that. I like to get distracted backwards. Yeah, that's the same. I think it was the same at least. Maybe a slightly different error, but... Yeah, it's just a recoverable fatal to a fatal. It's the same, essentially. Slightly different. Hope that answers your question. Let's make this accept. Cool. So yeah, I don't know how this works. So, which may specifies a PHP script that is going to be compiled and executed at server startup, and which may preload other files by including them or by using the opcache compile file function. All the entities defined in these files will be available to request out of the box until the server is shut down. So the thing I don't understand here is what it's saying when it says server startup. Which server? Because typically we run PHP as either as an Apache Apache or Nginx, and in the modern times we typically proxy PHP requests through to PHP FPM. So does it mean like the PHP FPM server? I don't know is the answer. But it is something that Google's going to be able to help me with, right? My throat is on fire. Oh, Stitcher.io again. Well, last time that was disappointing. So let's see if it can give me a better example this time. Excuse me. With PHP 7.4 support, blah, blah, blah. In order to preload files, you need to write a custom PHP. This is totally expected because when we looked at the opcache preloading, it says specifies a PHP script that is going to be compiled and executed and which may preload other files. So we tell it one script, but that script will be able to load out whatever we want. Yeah, I understand how it works, Kat. I totally understand how it works. My question is, when you say on server load, what server are you talking about? Because PHP doesn't have its own built-in web server for production. It's normally proxied from Nginx or Apache or whatever. So are we talking about PHP FPM, which I guess is a server and runs as a server with a port? Is that what we're talking about, the PHP FPM server? That's my question, essentially. In order to preload files, you need to write a custom PHP script. I'm happy with that. The script is executed once on server startup. There's that server word again. All preloaded files are available in memory for all requests. That I get, because they're just op-cached. They're just opcoded and then cached. Changes made to preloaded files won't have any effect until the server is restarted in depth. While preloading is built on top of opcache, it's not exactly the same. Opcache, blah, 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 compiles with opcodes and store these compiled files on disks. A low-level representation of your code. I get that. I get that. Preloading in practice. I understand what it is. You provide a preload script and then put it in your PHP INI. That's totally fine. Every PHP file you want to be preloaded should be passed to opcache compile file. I get that too. Say you want to preload a framework, script will have to loop over all the files in the vendor Laravel directory and include them one by one. So, I don't know how we can test this realistically, but I'm totally up for just writing something that does this, just to prove that it works, because I'm interested in that. So let's do that. Let's do that. That's fine. So PHP, what ini files are you using? No, PHP --ini, please. There's our PHP ini file right here. So I guess it needs to be the direct. Yeah. Okay. So let's do that. Let's create a new file here and call it our new PHP file. Opcache preload.php. That's fine. And we'll do nothing in there for now. I just want to check that it runs. On SAPI load. Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense on SAPI load, yeah. So it could be the command line. It could be if you're spinning up a PHP 7. Well, it wouldn't be the command line. But it could be when you're spinning up a PHP FPM instance. Thanks for hanging out, Kat. So we want opcache preload, right? Equals, and then the path to our project. So that's fine too. Vim www php 74, and then we do pod, and then we copy this, and then we go back to our Vim instance where we're editing our. Let's go all the way down to the bottom. Is it even in here? Opcache. Look at me using Vim like a pro. I guess we need to enable it first, right? I mean, we could totally try this. We could totally try this. Preload. Opcache preload. There we go. I don't know if we need to enable it, but this is the kind of thing that I feel like we should be trying. What did I call this? Opcache-preload PHP. Because we can spin up a so opcache is disabled. So my main question here is this going to even do anything because opcache is disabled? And I suspect it's not. Let's just say die ugh to see if this gets run. So that's not actually doing anything, which is probably expected. But if we reload this development server, okay, so it is definitely taking. You can see when I spin up the development server, this is me short cycling it, just so that I can get the code to run. You can see it's running. Let's do. Even though opcache is disabled, this is very, very interesting to me because I can see this actually having massive uses, particularly in making sure that your server's performant, like right out of the box. So this is getting run, which is lovely. And let's say, like, for example, we definitely want to cache vendor autoload. I don't know if it means that we actually need to cache everything in here or whether it will follow the loop itself. Every PHP file you want to preload should be passed. So apparently not. But we can definitely do this. Let's do it. Let's just like preload the autoloader and check that it works. So preload. What was the command again? Opcache compile file. Of course it was. Opcache compile file. Vendor autoload. I mean, I guess we don't need to require it though. So this should work now. We should just be able to spin up a server, and we've preloaded our vendor autoload, even though we're not using opcache, which is nice. I want to see what the warnings were though, because this is interesting. In order for files to be preloaded, their dependencies, interfaces, traits, and parent classes must also be preloaded. This is probably because I haven't got opcache enabled. It's probably because I've got, like this way to ensure linked files are loaded as well. Instead of using opcache compile file, you can just require once and register autoloader take out the rest. Oh, okay. So you could. So actually, by just doing the require, that was actually auto-loaded, up-caching it for me, preloading it for me, which is really cool, because that will follow the tree. Now this is probably the minimum you'd want to do. You'd absolutely want to up-cache preload the autoloader, even in a minimum way, particularly when you've dumped the autoloader, for production, so that you're using an array of key value pairs instead of doing disk lookups every time. This is really interesting stuff. I like it. Thank you, Stitcher.io. Any questions? We're getting right down into the stickies here. I guess we're nearly done. That's fine. Several deprecations. I mean, I'm okay with looking at that. Nested ternary operator without explicit parenthesis. Okay. So essentially, you have to use parentheses if you're using nested ternary operators. Which totally makes sense to me, because how the hell can anyone figure out which order this is being parsed in? Like this tells us, oh, it's gonna try and do this first, and if not, it'll use 4, and if it does parse, it'll use 5, or 1, 2, and then if not, do this ternary. I'm okay with that. That's a break and change. Well, it's deprecated. It will be a break and change, but I'm okay with that. That's just common sense. I don't think anybody could guess what the hell the output of this would be. Anyone want to try and guess? Like, we can totally try this. Let's try this. New PHP file, deprecated stuff. I'm up for anyone who thinks they can figure out what this is going to return. It's showing as deprecated now, right? Yeah. So it'll just give us a warning. I've got no idea what this will return, by the way. I guess it'll return if 1 or 2 that are not 3 or 4. Oh, I have no idea what that's going to run. Let's run in and find out. I'm so bad at this kind of thing. It returned 4, which is not what I would have guessed in any sense of the word. Why would it possibly return 4? I mean, let's run it in 7.3 and confirm that it's fine. Why would it... 1, if 1, then 2, else if 3... 4 is just the line number. No, it's not. It's outputting 4. And I have no clue why. I've got no clue why. Yeah, see, it's outputting the 4th option. I can't read that. I'll be honest with you, right? My mental state means there are definitely people who will be able to tell me exactly what that is. There's definitely people in chat who will be able to say to me, oh, it's because X, Y, and Z. I have no clue. Like, I have no clue why. Like, because this is 2. I got no clue. Because 1 is not... Yeah. If 1 is not 2... I don't know. Look, this is boiling my brain. Let's get on. Let's get on with it, because it is boiling my brain. But I don't think anybody can argue that making this more readable is a bad change. Like, please. Array and string offset access using curly braces. The array and string offset access syntax using curly braces. I didn't even know you could use curly braces. Like, really? Ternary complex nonsense. Deprecated. I honestly didn't know you could access arrays using... Did I mean, look how ignorant I am. I honestly didn't know that was a thing. Like, blown away. I mean, I'm totally blown away that that's a thing. And again, lots of people will argue with this, right? This is stuff of discussion, because people will say, why are you deprecating that? Why are you deprecating something that I will need to do huge amounts of work to fix my code base because I'm using these curly brace access all over the place? And I'm amazed that this ever worked. Like, I'm totally amazed. I'll never stop being amazed that it ever worked. I didn't even know you could do it. But, you know, it is what it is. I really like that we only have one way to access stuff. And I think that having one way to access stuff makes life easier for all of us. And I think that because if I come to your code base and look at the way your code, if we all do things similarly, it means I can read your code and understand what's going on tons quicker than if I don't. And I think that's important to me personally. I totally understand that people who've got 10,000 files where they're accessing arrays using the curly braces are going to hate this. I totally understand. And it probably will stop some people from upgrading, but we just have to move forward. It's my opinion, and it's not a particularly liked opinion, but I think that it is what it is for me. There you go. I mean, I'm learning so much today. I hope you're getting out of it. Realcast and Israel function. Realcast is deprecated, use float instead. Israel function is deprecated, uses float instead. Okay, we're going again into the single way to do things rather than multiple way to do things in PHP. And in PHP, we've always had a bajillion different ways to do stuff. And again, I'm all for unifying this so that we've got one way to do stuff. Like, I'm completely up for that. Unbinding this when this is used. Unbinding this of a non-static closure that uses this is deprecated. Unbinding this of a non-static closure. So we've got a non-static closure that uses this and unbinds this. Just words to me. I'll be honest. A non-static closure, right? I get that. So we've got a closure, and it's not static, and it's trying to unbind this. Why would you ever do that? Is that like a bug that's being marked as a deprecation because people may be using it? I don't know. It's fine. We're running out of time, so I'm going to gloss over these deprecations quickly because I am interested. There may be some hidden gems in here. I'm not particularly bothered about binding stuff. Parent keyword without a parent class. Using a parent inside a class without a parent is deprecated. I'm going to throw a compile time error in the future. Good. That's good. I like it. Currently, an error will be generated if when the parent is accessed at runtime. So this means that it won't parse anymore. Or it'll parse. It won't compile anymore. So you'll get the error earlier, and you'll be able to catch the error earlier, and therefore you'll get a compile time error when that file is compiled. So you won't get this weird state where you've got a bug that sometimes happens and doesn't happen all the time, because sometimes the parent is accessed at runtime using an if statement, and sometimes it's not. And there's this like, why are we getting these intermittent bug reports? Good. Anything we can do for that, I think, is a massive win. Anything we can do to stop intermittent bugs is a huge win. Big fan of that. Allow URL include any option. The allow URL include any option. I don't know what that is, so let's find out. This option allows the use of URL aware open reference. Oh yeah. So this allows you to include URL stuff. Yeah, deprecate it. Get rid of it. Security hole, get rid of it. Invalid characters in base conversion functions. Passing invalid characters to base convert by blah blah will now generate a deprecation notice. Passing invalid characters will generate a deprecation notice. The result will still be computed. Oh, okay. It's because it's gonna be moving over to strict types in future versions of PHP. So they're deprecating the invalid characters now to say, well, we've performed the calculation for you by stripping the trailing white space and the not x's, but we won't let you do it in the future. That's fine. It's one of these loosey-goosey type conversions that we have that we need to kind of clamp down on, in my opinion. Other people will disagree. My throat's on fire. It's almost like I've been talking for nearly 2 hours. It's fine. Array key exists on objects. Using array key exists on objects is deprecated. Use either is set or property exists. I didn't know you could use array key exists on objects. The key is in the name there. The key. The key. What a pun. The array key is in the array name. No, the pertinent piece of information is that the name of that method, of that function, is array key exists, not object property exists. So yes, we have property exists for a reason. Use it. Get magic quotes GPC and get magic quotes runtime functions are deprecated. They always return false. Magic quotes is still a thing. I mean, there's a lot of deprecations. Convert cirrus string. I don't know what that is. Hebrevek. I'm going to gloss over it. Convert cirrus string. I never use it. I'm going to gloss over it. Money format. The money format is deprecated and replaced by the Intel number format functionality. Money format's always been hit and miss for me. And the number format is much better in the Intel extension. Like, that's one extension most people would be using anyway, so I guess that's okay. I've used money format a lot, though, in all honesty. Like, that's kind of surprising. That is kind of surprising to me, actually. Is it because it just doesn't... I wanted to look at the examples. Oh, excuse me again. I'm flagging now. Is it because it's just not... It doesn't, like, honor... Why is that deprecated then? That's interesting. I'm going to take a look at that off stream and figure out why that's been deprecated. And I'll tweet about that to figure out why that's been deprecated. That is so weird. Okay. Again, that's not something I can answer straight away, but we should definitely take a look at that. Ismlm hash. Okay, don't know what that is. Restore include path. Oh yeah, you need restore. That's fine. Don't worry about that. Implode with historical parameter. Passing parameters to implode in reverse order is deprecated. Oh, did it used to work? That's interesting. I'm going to quickly look at that because I use implode a lot. Implode. So you normally pass in like what you want to implode it with and then like an array of options. So if we want to create the CSV from some... Why am I passing it? Let's just do like 1, 100, 1,000, 10,000. So if we wanted to create the CSV, we should just be able to do that, right? And that should just give us the... Yeah, let's get rid of the deprecated stuff a minute. Okay, so that works. So I didn't know you could reverse the parameters, if I'm honest. Look at that. Like, I'm all for deprecating it, but I really didn't know that worked. Somebody must have thought, oh, I mean, that's... Oh. It's because of explode, right? But explode takes the delimiter, which is a comma, and then a string of things to explode, right? That's how this works. And then the limit, yeah. So this is intriguing. What have I done here? Explode. Oh, of course it's an array. I can't echo an array, can I? Don't. God, I'm becoming... Yeah. Okay. So this takes the delimiter first, and so I would always expect implode to take the glue first, which is essentially the delimiter, right? Because these are reversed. So yeah, I mean, you learn so much doing this. Honestly, did anyone else in chat know that you could reverse the order of implode and it would still work? Can you reverse I guess you can't reverse the order of explode because they're both strings, right? And so how does it know? It's just because this is of type array. It's like, they've put the strings they've put the order the wrong way. That is, quite frankly, startling that was a thing. But there you go. Okay, so that's the deprecations. Extensions removed from the core. So these extensions are taken out of the default PHP distribution and moved to Peckle, which is totally fine. So Fireburst Interface Recode, which I don't know what it is, and WDDX. Human language and character encoding. Okay, so it's a recoding. WDDX. I don't know what that is either. XML manipulation. Okay. These extensions are intriguing. Sweet. I think that covers everything. How are we looking for time? We got 10 minutes. So I'm going to dump this up to GitHub. I am thinking of streaming a little bit more this week. So, question is, would people be interested in seeing me attempting the advent of code? Some of those challenges on stream in PHP. I think it could be a bit of fun. I really, really like doing them. I'm pretty bad at doing them, so I'd need some help from chat. But I'm totally up for like trying to do some advent of code stuff if that's what people want. What's new PHP 7.4? I'm just gonna PHP 7.4 streamed at twitch.tv. So I would definitely need some help, okay? Let me make it clear. And this is totally a like thing to make sure people turn up to help me. I'll be honest, but Twilio Slim, no. City PHP 7.4. I can definitely do some of that this week. Like, we'll take a quick look now because I've got a little bit of time. Let's take a look at like what the first mission is. So if you don't know, the Advent of Code is something that gets created every year, and it's just like one coding challenge a day. I've never managed to actually do this, like do all of the days, because I always run out of steam after like a week or something. I'm always like, and then once you go behind, I'm already behind because it's like, what date's it today? It's like the 3rd today. So there's already 3 being released that I haven't even looked at, which is a problem. But do we have a git ignore? New file.git ignore. Vendor.idea. So it gets, I don't know if it gets progressively harder, but I find that it gets progressively harder, or I get more and more jaded as the time goes on. Sweet. So we'll push this. Oh, I need to add it to origin, right? Did I? Yeah, I did. Git add origin. No, git add remote origin. Git remote add origin. Like, I only do this constantly and I still can't remember it, so it's totally fine. Git push origin master. Okay. There we go. So you can find, I'll tweet this out now. You can find the repo if you want to know what was going on here, which is nice. So yeah, the Advent of Code 2019. I've done this on like YouTube for a while, and then I was like really bad. I really struggled, so it's all good. How do I start going? So, here we go. So we got 1, 2, 3, blah, 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 and you got 17 hours. I think you could do them retrospectively, yeah. Santa's become stranded at the edge of the solar system while delivering presents to other planets. How dare he? To accurately calculate his position in space, safely align his warp drive and return to Earth, he needs you to bring him measurements from 50 stars. Okay, so this is the premise for the whole thing. The elves quickly load into the spacecraft and prepare to launch. At the first go/no-go pole, every elf is go until the fuel counter upper. They haven't determined the amount of fuel yet. Like, I'm confused already. I really am. Fuel required to launch a given module is based on its mass. Specifically, to find the fuel required for a module, take its mass, divide by 3, round down, and subtract 2. Okay, that's good. So for a mass of 12, divide by 3 and round down to get 4. Then subtract 2 to get 2. Okay. So, I mean, we could do this one right now. I've got time, and I'm already intrigued. So let's just do this one today as a bonus, and then we'll try and do a couple a day, like in the middle to the end of the week, because this is super cool. So, I should have already identified myself. Yeah, it's fine. There we go. Okay, so the first thing, so I'm going to do this one right now because I'm excited, as you can probably tell. Like, I always get excited when I look at this. So let's create a new Advent 2019. New window. Yeah. There's a glitch in the theme I use. So let's just quickly do this one. Okay, so let's just create a new PHP file and let's call it day 1. So you totally should I totally should be creating classes, but for the early problems, I'm pretty bad. Like, I tend to just hack around the early problems. You know, that because that's the way I roll. So we've got a function. So let's take a look at what we need to do here. This is what I always say. Let's take a look at the ticket. Fuel required to launch a given module is based on its mass. So fuel required for a given module is based on its mass. So we take an int, which is its mass, and we return an int. I have to keep looking back at the ticket, and I understand that this is going to be distracting for people because So, specifically, to find the fuel required for a module, take its mass, divide by 3, round down, and subtract 2. Okay, so what I'm going to do first is write some tests. They've given us some test data here, like immediately, so we can just write the test straight away. So we can do, and I'm going to just use this assert again because we already have the assert module just like right in there. So I could install PHP unit right now and write some tests, but I just don't want to. I'm just going to do this. So for a mass of 12, the answer should be 2. So fuel required 12 equals 2. So I'm just going to write a load of these asserts and put the data that they gave us in the problem into the tests. So then when we write our function, if we've written it correctly, the test will pass, and then we know where we go in. So 12 is 2, 14 is 2. A mass of 1969 is 654. So a mass of 1969 is 654. And then a mass of 100,756. I'm going to copy and paste these because I'm too lazy not to. So we now, this is almost like TDD, right? I've written my tests first, and now if I run this, return value of, okay, so we need to return something, right? So let's just return naught for everything. So that this is erroring because I didn't. So my asserts are all wrong here. So now we can make an attempt at writing the function. So find the fuel required for a module, take its mass, divide by 3 and round down. Okay, so we take its mass, and we divide by 3, and we round down. Flow will round it down for us, but we need to cast that to an int, because we need to return an int. And then I'm going to put brackets on there, even though I don't think I need to. Then we subtract 2. So if I've written this correctly, so we take the mass, divide it by 3 and round down. That's what flow does. And then we cast it to an int, which is, we need it to be an int so that we can subtract 2. These tests should now pass, and we should just get no warnings, hopefully. Yay! Greatest coder ever. No, I'm not. I'm really not. So now what we need to do is to get our puzzle input, and then we need to run it for all of these things. So this is where I become cheeky as well. Like, what does it need to do for the answer? I forgot. Do we need to add them all together? The sum of the fuel requirements. Okay, so now what we do is we say input equals I can't remember how. I always forget how here docs work. Like we don't even need to use a here doc, right? We can just do this. There's our input. Now this is something I would never do in production. Let me make that clear. Like, I absolutely wouldn't put this in line. I would either like put it in a file, but I can use PHP's like, how do I use this collapse? Can I collapse this so that we don't see it all? Apparently not. Let's just do it. It's fine. So we've got our input. So then we say for each, and we just looked at this, right? Explode. Our delimiter is the EUL. And our input is the string. So now we've got an array. We say total equals naught. And I'm all for any improvements we can have on this, because this is part of the fun for me. Why is this? For each... Oh, I need to tell it as, right? As dollar item is fine. Dollar total dot equals fuel required item. That looks like it's right to me. Does anyone want to tell me where I've made mistakes? If I'm doing it all wrong, if it looks good to them? I'm all open for this. I mean, I totally should edit the stream info now because I'm not doing PHP 7.4. So if you've joined, I apologize. I think this looks good to me. We'll leave the assertions in there because they'll just do nothing because they'll only show if they don't match. And then we'll echo the sum is total. So hopefully this runs. Number one, hopefully it runs. Number two, hopefully it explodes these correctly based on PHP UL. Number three, hopefully it'll probably error actually because I'm not casting it to an int. I totally expect this to error because I'm not casting it to an int and I've got strict types on. So let's confirm that first. Argument 1 passed to fuel required must be of type int. So I called that. That's fine. I'm okay with that because I can just cast this to an int right here. I expect it to be a string. It's come from a string. It's going to be a string. I'm okay with casting it into an int because it's a controlled input. I'm good with that. And now the problem I've got is that I've done dot equals, not plus equals. So I'm casting it back into a string. So I've now got one long string with all of the answers instead of adding it to the total. Okay, so this is what I'm expecting to be my answer. Once again, does anyone want to guess whether that's right or wrong? First time. Can I get day one right first time? That's my question. Can I get day one right first time? Let's see. Woohoo! I got a gold star. 1 star. Awesome job. But there is a part 2. Okay, now we get more difficult. So what I'm going to do so that I can upload this to Twitch, to GitHub as well, is I'm going to copy this, because we normally start from... Oh, what did I do there? Command... Shift Command F6. There we go. Because it normally like starts you from a similar point, so I normally like to go from there. During the second go no go poll, the elf in charge of the rocket equation double checker stops the launch sequence. Apparently you forgot to include additional fuel for the fuel you just added. Oh hell. Fuel itself requires fuel just like a module. It takes its mass, divide by 3, round down and subtract 2. Okay. However, that fuel also requires fuel, and that fuel requires fuel, and so on. So when you add the fuel in, the mass increases, therefore you need to add more fuel to compensate for the increase in mass. This is confusing. Oh, excuse me. Sorry, I thought I muted and I didn't. Any mass that would require negative fuel, how can it require negative fuel? Should be treated as if it required 0 fuel. The remaining mass, if any, is instead handled by wishing really hard, which has no mass and is outside the scope of this calculation. I'm confused. I hope I'm not the only one who's confused, but hopefully we'll understand. So for each module mass, calculate its fuel and add it to the total. Then, treat the fuel amount you just calculated as the input mass and repeat the process, continuing until a fuel requirement is 0 or negative. For example, a module of mass 14 requires 2 fuel. This fuel requires no further fuel. 2 divided by 3 and rounded down is 0, which would call for a negative fuel. So the total fuel required is still just 2. Oh my god. At first, a module mass of 1969 requires 654 fuel. Then this fuel requires 216 more fuel. Then this requires 70 fuel, and then 21, and then 5, which requires no further fuel. So the total further fuel required for 1979 is 996. I got it. So we need to iterate here, right? We need to iterate here. So, a module of mass 14 requires 2 fuel. So we've already got that. I'm going to get rid of the input. Are we in part 2 here? Yeah. Let's get rid of the input. We don't need it yet. This is madness, and I love it. And it shows how ignorant I am doing stuff on stream, and I love that too. So, get rid of this. I just want to get my tests working again now, because we've got a new rule, so I want to write the new tests. So 14 is just 2, so this is correct. We don't have a 12. 14 is just 2. 1969 requires 966. 966. And that requires 50,354. Okay, so let's run this now. We don't have the total. Let's run this now. And we've got failing tests, which is exactly what I would expect. So this is going to need like an iteration, I would guess. We're going to need to call it, it's going to need, not iteration, it's going to need a loop, and we're going to break out of that loop. So a module of mass, so what we need to do is pass in the fuel back into itself. So fuel equals that. If $fuel is less than or equal to 0, return fuel. That might get one of our tests pass in, yeah? Does that make sense? Because this calculation is still good. So if the fuel is less than or equal to 0, return... Oh no, that's not going to work. Additional fuel. Yeah. So we want to run it on itself. The word fuel looks really weird to me now. Additional fuel equals fuel required. Fuel. Okay, so we've got the fuel for this mass. We've got the additional fuel for this mass. If the additional fuel is less than or equal to naught, so if it's a negative number or if it's not, we can just return the fuel, right? So that, I'm thinking that might make this first one pass. I'm not 100% on. Oh, I went into a permanent loop. Okay, I went into a permanent loop. Why is that? Fuel equals this. Additional fuel. Why is additional fuel? That should be naught, right? In my mind. Oh. I didn't expect that to fail then, because I'm only doing it once. Is it to do with one of these? It's probably to do with one of those, right? No. Any guesses in chat? What have I done wrong here? So we're saying fuel. I could step debug this, right? This is saying it's a recursive call, and it is a recursive call. That's fine. Additional fuel is never less than or equal to naught. But it shouldn't be running now. Let's see what fuel is here. And then. So fuel is 2, right? So what is fuel required? 2. That's going to be the recursive call. Because it goes into here with 2. 2 divided by 3 flowed minus 2 is negative. Oh. I wonder if I need that to be a strict comparison. It is a strict comparison. What am I doing? This is really bizarre. Fuel is 2. Okay, let's get rid of this for a sec. Let's get rid of this. Let's get rid of this. Let's go back to a working state. And then let's check what fuel required of 2 is. Minus 2. So minus 2 is less than or equal to naught. So that should not iterate forever. In my mind. What am I missing here? I'm definitely missing something. How are we looking for time? And now I'm really, really tight on time, and this is going to be frustrating. I've definitely got to fix this before we go. So fuel is 2, is minus 2. So we say the fuel is this. It's 2. Then we say the additional fuel is the fuel required of 2, which is minus 2. And then we should... oh, crap. No, that's good. I'm going to step debug this. I'm very interested to see. I'm very interested to see what's going on. In order to step debug this, I need to peckle install xdebug though. Oh, yeah, yeah. I probably should have removed that PHP NE statement that actually is being run every time that it's trying to start up the SAPI. Where's my... Oh, okay. Was it one of these? Yeah. Put the additional fuel in the if statement. That is... Okay, yeah. Hang on. Preload. Let me just fix this because I love these suggestions. Thank you so much. This is why I said I need help. It's kind of the problem I got here is I kind of don't understand the problem. Yeah. You're very clever. You're very clever. Thank you. If the fuel is less than or equal to naught, if it's greater than naught, if the weight of the fuel is greater than naught, we need to think about the additional fuel. So the additional fuel is equal to the fuel required for the fuel. In fact, we can just say fuel plus equals fuel required fuel. Oh, I don't even know what the hell have I done here. What monster have I created? If fuel is greater than naught, we need to calculate the additional fuel for it. So additional fuel, that was good, is fuel required for the fuel. If additional fuel is less than or equal to naught, return fuel, because we don't need to worry about any more additional fuels. Okay, this feels like it should work for the first one. Any suggestions? Thank you. You clarified my mind brilliantly there, Ronald. Okay, at least we don't have a return type at the end there, but it should only have a return from here, right? Additional fuel equals fuel required fuel. If additional fuel is not equal to naught, return the fuel. Okay. If fuel is greater than naught, this should never hit, right? If fuel is less than or equal to naught, let's just return fuel here, just so that we know we're returning something. Okay, this assertion is working now, weirdly. I didn't expect it to work, but it is. The second assertion, I think, will fail, because I don't think we're actually handling that use case where we need to do the second level of recursion. 966 is not equal to this. Should give us a more useful error message. 966 is not equal to 654. Okay, so in this instance, it's actually not calculated. It's not adding the additional fuel, which is something we absolutely have to do. So if the fuel is greater than naught, additional fuel equals fuel required fuel. If additional fuel is that, otherwise fuel equals plus equals. We want to add the additional fuel to the fuel. Yay! Okay, that is so confusing, but I think I understand what I've done, and I'll talk through it in a second. Let me check that we've fixed the third one as well, because we should have, yeah. Okay. Whew. That was hard work. So we do the calculation first, and then if the fuel is less than or equal to naught, we just return it. We don't care about that. We short circuit. But if the fuel is greater than naught, we grab the additional fuel. If the additional fuel is less than naught, then we can just return the fuel, because we never need to go any deeper. Otherwise, we add it to the additional fuel to the fuel and then return it. But what then happens is that will go into the nest and then come back out of the nest and add it all on. So that looks good to me. So now we can steal the stuff from our first. Do we need the same input, do you think? Oh, we got the same input, so we can copy and paste this stuff now. Hopefully. We can copy and paste all that. That is, like, complicated, I have to say. And that is revealing about the way that I code, because it is trial and error, and then I've hit upon the correct solution in the end. And I'm sure you can write it better than that. I'm certain you can, but I don't really care. And then we can echo the sum here. And I am fairly comfortable that this will be correct at the beginning, because I've got these tests. And so hopefully this will be correct. Okay, let's run it. Let's run it and let's see how the advent of code enjoys our... Yay! 2 stars. Superb. Okay, thank you so much for hanging out. I'm going to call it there. I'm definitely going to try and do some more of these on stream, even though it's kind of embarrassing to show how difficult I find it to kind of think these things through. And this is why tests are so useful. Like, without the tests, I would never have been confident and comfortable of the fact that I kind of fixed that. That's the truth. And thank you to Runel for giving me the absolute nailed on, put the fuel in the if statement. That was exactly what we needed to see. But I'm going to go there. I'm going to go and grab some lunch. Have a good day. Have a good Tuesday. I hopefully might stream either tomorrow or Thursday doing more Advent of Code, because this is fun. And don't forget to follow me on Twitter at GWH. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next time.